with that match?
Overall, the way I played very high level. Executed the game plan really well. Which was just to be super aggressive. Anytime I had a little bit of time. Obviously, Karen hits a really big ball, and when he has a little bit of time, when he has time on the stroke, he's extremely dangerous. Overall, he's very dangerous, obviously, and so I just tried to really go for my forehand and try to serve well, which I did for the most part, and then it was a physical match there at the end. I'm just glad I pulled through.
Are you surprised, Vasek? You haven't played a whole lot this season, and to go through a 5-setter and still have the physical conditioning to pull it out, did you surprise yourself a little bit?
Yeah, definitely a little bit. The conditions helped me today for sure. It wasn't very hot. I was very happy about that this morning when I woke up. But other than that, not so. I wasn't so surprised because I've been working really hard, and I did a ton of fitness before I kind of made my comeback just to make sure that I was strong. And but of course, match play is a different kind of beast, and when the adrenaline goes up, it's different. But no, I've been playing matches now for the last month or so. So, but yeah, just super happy to get through.
Was all you needed was just not to play Felix in the first round?
What was that? Sorry, all I needed.
All you needed was not to play Felix in the first
round. Oh yeah, maybe that's what it was. Yeah, I've had some tough draws. Felix 2 times, and Karen, obviously, those are all tough draws, and just happy to get this one. I thought I played really well against Felix in Montreal. I feel like every week I've been playing better and better, to be honest, and just played the big points well and stayed calm today for the most part, and it's good.
You said in Montreal that it was the best level you played since you were in the top 50, I think?
I would say in general the last month or so. Even actually I played a Vancouver Challenger a couple weeks ago and played a really good match with Chung there. The second round was a tough draw, but had match points there, and we played a really, really high level. So I felt, even though I didn't really have too many wins under my belt, I still felt pretty confident just with how I'd been training and playing the last few matches.
Right. Just on sort of player council stuff, I talked to a few of the WTA players they just had their elections recently.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of new faces on their council, and they're all pretty young generally. I'm curious, a couple of them mentioned being open or interested in reaching out to ATP side to collaborate on sort of shared interests and common goals. I don't know if you've done any of that already with any of them?
I have, yeah. I've actually spoken to 4 of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I've been talking to them the last 3-4 days.
What are the advantages of doing that? You think there's not been a lot of crossing that aisle?
Yeah, well, I think the advantages of doing that is that, especially at the slams and in general, we're playing the same event, right? So what affects one side affects the other, so it just makes sense to collaborate and communicate, especially at the Grand Slams. Obviously, the ATP and WTA Tour are separate, and they have their separate tournaments and their separate tour. There are some combined events, but especially if we talk about the Grand Slams, it's one tournament with women and men, and so I just feel like it's counterproductive to not communicate with them, to be honest. So yeah.
You found any of them to be kindred spirits, particularly?
Yeah, kindred spirits there.
I'm curious. Any you see on that side of the aisle, you think you could have particularly good?
Yeah, you know what? I'm really super impressed with Sloane, to be honest. She just I had some good conversations with her, and Gabby's up there, the Canadian. She's really into it, and I had some conversations with her, and then Joanna had a few conversations with her as well. And so I'm pleasantly surprised by how involved they are, and especially Sloane. I was pretty impressed with her mindset.
The first question is, did they reach out to you, or did you reach out to them? And the second question is, what does it feel like now that you're going out to play without the concerns that you've had about your back for years?
Mm-hmm. I reached out to, actually, a few of them reached out to me, and I reached out to one of them. So yeah, and the back, yeah, it's nice. I've been knocking on wood saying this, but I've been telling people that I actually had a little bit of an issue the last couple of days. So I was nervous coming into the match, but it wasn't really back related. It was something with my hip, and I was, yeah, I've been telling a few people actually this is the best that my back has felt since I had my injury in 2014. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. Obviously, knocking on wood again, but definitely the best I've felt since 2013. Yeah.
Two unrelated things. How does this incredible win compare with your win over Andy when he was #1 in the desert at Indian Wells? And also just talk about your campaign for better pay for lower ranked players. Did speaking out, did that take courage? Is it gaining traction? What's the status on that? So two-part question.
I mean, the first question is obviously, you know, beating Andy. He was #1 in the world at the time, so that's a very special win. And it was, you know, this is my first top 10 win at a Grand Slam, so that's something too, right? And it was a 5-setter, so it was super special. But being the #1 player in the world was it kind of puts it in its own little you know, section there. But so different matches. I mean, both great moments in my career for sure, but Andy was a special one. And then for the fight for, you know, if more than anything, I just fighting for a bit of transparency, and I think, you know, our sport is doing so incredibly well, but there's still just 100 players or so that are making a good living, and I just think that it shouldn't be that way when the sport is so incredibly profitable. But it's normal because, you know, we don't have, the players are relatively powerless with in their positions with tournaments, so we don't have legal representation that just solely look out for the players' best interests. So how are you ever gonna have fairness, so to speak? It's business, you know. This isn't. It's just hard to see guys that are 120, 130 in the world and dedicated their whole lives, and they're incredible athletes, incredible people to get to this level and to accomplish that in their lives, and they get overlooked and they're not appreciated, and that's just the reality, right? So, and I think that comes from many things, because, you know, when you look at the Grand Slams, for example, there are 250 players playing. So even though, in the qualification, and so you can kind of dive into the reasons why maybe, you know, more guys should be getting paid a little bit better when they're at this level.
But the tournaments don't reveal what they're making.
Sorry.
Tournaments do not reveal what they're making, the revenues or profits that they have.
Well, they do. They do. The players get 14% of the revenues, 7% of the women, 7% of the men. So then you can, you know, look at that a little bit more deeply and feel if that, and decide if that's a fair amount. I think prize money is pretty top heavy. I mean, every round it doubles. So obviously, you know, the guys in the later rounds are doing well, but there's, you know, should they be making more too? You know, early round guys, qualifications, you know, there's one thing that's overlooked is there are only 4 Grand Slams in the year. And yeah, people like to say, oh, look at this guy, he played first round, he lost 6-2, 6-2, 6-3, or whatever, and picked up a $50,000 check. I mean, that's just the wrong way to look at it, because I've used this explanation a few times, but the way to look at it is that player had won 43 matches at the highest level of the sport to get to that ranking, to be a direct entry, and he has 4 events to make that kind of money, and then he pays taxes and he pays 6 travel expenses and his coach and hotel and everything. So it's, you know, there's more to it than just $50,000 or whatever for a first round loss, right? So, and then there's all the qualifying players as well, and so, and it wasn't difficult for me to speak out. That was the other question that you had, because, I mean, I'm pretty honest, straightforward. I don't mind if people, you know, necessarily, if they disagree with what I have to say. It's open dialogue. Like, there's no, you know, everyone has their opinions, and some people might not like mine, but that's just, you know, at the end of the day, I think it's good to just talk openly about these things.
You mentioned kind of the legal representation of the players. I've understood you brought some lawyers to kind of address the wider player body, and there's kind of petition going around that's got something like 100 signatures on it, kind of trying to lobby people.
Pretty informed.
Try get a group of you to lobby together to get what you want. I was just wondering whether you could kind of outline the sort of things you want and whether you have the big names kind of on these lists, because that carries a lot of weight, if we're going down the line of, say, boycotting events, kind of trying to, really hold these guys down. Vasek Pospisil saying he's not going to play at Grand Slam is very different to Roger Federer saying he's not going to play, and that's no disrespect to you.
Of course, no, none taken.
Wondering whether you have players like that on your side.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have there are a lot of players, a lot. I'll just leave it at that. We have big names as well, depending on but I think it's just we're just wanting to say, hey, like, we're here. Let's have fair talks, explanations, transparency. Explain why things have to be certain ways, and then it's just a very gentle. Can we come to the negotiation table, and can you just explain to us why it has to be a certain way, why it has to be 14%? Well, it's less because we saw the New York Times revealed that actually the tax returns were incorrect. That so it's actually less than 14%. So the U.S. Open were
I'm going to go last two questions, two ladies, 1, 2.
I was just wondering what your thoughts were when he went up 2-1 when he tied it to go into the fifth set, and was there any point in the match where you were like, okay, because he looked a little frustrated at times.
He did, or I did?
He looked a little frustrated at times. I think after he went when you went up 2-1 in sets, he like slammed the ball. Was there any moment though where you also thought, okay, I have it. This is my match, and this is my match to lose at this point?
No. Until I went up a break in the fifth. Yeah, I mean, I just felt like I was playing really well, and if I could maintain my level, I'd have a chance of winning the match. So it was more that than anything. I just felt like, okay, if I can keep this level, and if I can stay relatively fresh and not have a dip in energy, I felt that I could pull through. So I was thinking that since I started the match, or not, since the second set, since I won the second set, I was like, okay, I'm playing a really good level, and we'll see how it goes, and just play point by point, game by game. But it wasn't until the fifth because I had a bit of a dip in energy in the fourth and beginning of the fifth, and then right around third, fourth game of the fifth set, I just felt a little bit of a second wind, and I think that's where I was like, okay, like I can win this. For a period there, I felt pretty low on energy, but most of the match I felt like it was anyone's match.
Vasek, you had your own match to prepare for, so you probably didn't have a take on this before it happened, but now, I guess did you see the result between Shapovalov and Felix?
I did, yeah.
And do you have any thoughts on how that?
Well, I didn't see. I just saw the score. Obviously, yeah. I mean, that's tennis. Like, they've had good battles in the past, and it was hyped up for sure to be a good battle. But I mean, that's just how it goes. I don't know if Felix was a little bit off or if Dennis played an amazing. I didn't hear anything. I just saw the score, but yeah, I mean, they're two great players, and if one of them is off their game, or one of one of them is playing exceptionally well, that kind of scoreline can happen. So there's nothing really. I didn't really think much of it other than that's that's a one-sided score. But other than that, those kind of scorelines happen. So it's not the end of it. Yeah.
Tennis sound good in the next round?
Just ask the question.
Sorry. Yeah.
Well, we didn't talk about tennis for like.
Yeah.
Don't blame me. It has to be a beginning, middle, and end.
I know, but it's a basic question.
Yeah.
You can answer those.
Yeah. Yeah. Tennis is tough. I mean, he's playing great. He's very fit. He has good results at Grand Slams. Obviously, he's doing something right physically. I mean, he's came back from 2 sets today against a really good opponent, so he'll be confident. He's playing at home. I heard the atmosphere was pretty intense and loud and on his side as I would expect. And so yeah, that'll be a really good challenge, a big challenge. He's a great player. So had a great win today, but have another another super tough match, different opponent, different conditions for the next one. So we'll see. Thanks.